Hey, what's going on? How's it going? Hey, it's me. Oh, right there. Yeah. What's happening? It is uh man, let's see. 2 more days, one more day in June. Okay, it's 6/29. Man, June 29th. And it finally got hot up in the house, okay? It finally got hot in the house. Boy, the temps are rising and I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It is the only thing I hate is it has been so much rain lately that it's humid as all get out. That is the worst feeling there is. We've had so much wetness, so much rain that it's just absolutely humid, you know? And that's just the way it is. Um, can't nothing do about that. I mean, can't do nothing about that. So, but that's just the way it is. I ain't gonna complain. I wanted the heat to get here. It took its own sweet time getting here. Hey, what's up, James? What's happening? The heat took its own sweet time getting here. Of course, it went from 50 to 90. Of course it did. You know, that's what it does here. That's what it does. And hey, you got to be used to it by now. That's the way they do it. I wish there was something that we could do different about how this weather works here in Northwest Indiana, but that's what we got. That's what we stuck with. Um, uh, um, all sorts of stuff going on today, of course, as usual. I want to get into um, I want to get into what went on down, up in New York with the primaries in New York. But first, I'm gonna say a couple words about the Supreme Court. They was busy again doing dumbass shit. They they made three rulings today. Three rulings. I guess you could make it four. You can kind of make it. A non-ruling is a ruling too. So, E. Jean Carroll, they did not take up the case for Trump in the E. Jean Carroll situation. So he has to pony up the $5 million. You know, um, the other case was, could he fire officers of independent agencies in the government? And the Supreme Court ruled that he could fire officers of independent agencies in the federal government. Now, there were two cases about that. And one case was, um, doggone it, what agency was she in? Now slipped my mind just that quick. But the other case was at the Federal Reserve. A female officer, female Fed governor at the Federal Reserve. Now they ruled he could fire officers of federal agencies, but he could not fire this Fed governor at the Federal Reserve because the Federal Reserve has to maintain its independence. Well, Congress created all of the agencies that exist in the federal government. And when Congress created them, they created them to be independent of any other president coming in and firing people. So they ruled both ways on one case. You know, in the same situation, they ruled two different ways at the same time. That's our Supreme Court. They came down on both sides of the fence, made two separate rulings involving one action. Tell me this court ain't jacked up. Well, they did uphold the fact that in the state of Mississippi, somebody was suing. They were suing that mail-in voting should be extended. The ballot counting should be extended to the ballots that were postmarked by the right deadline, by the deadline. If it was postmarked, they can be counted. So that foils a lot of the GOP's efforts to throw out ballots that came in after the deadline. If they were postmarked by the deadline, they have to be counted. There's like 20-something states that have a grace period where you can count the votes because they came in after the polls closed, So that was in the favor of democracy, So that's that on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is jacked up. The only thing that's going to change it is if we get some fresh people in there. And I guess one of these days we'll have some fresh people in there. Which brings me to the subject I wanted to get into. Hey, what's up, Carmen? What's going on? What's happening? How are you? Hey, it's hot as Florida here today. Okay. But hey, I got what I need right here. This has been keeping me comfortable all day. Excuse me. What's going on, Charles? How's it going, man? Glad to see you. So I'm doing pretty good. I ain't gonna complain. I ain't gonna complain. It's hot as Hades, but I'm good with that. It's hot as Hades, but I'm good with that. Oh, you like that cup, do you? Yeah, somebody sent me that cup. I've been loving it ever since I got it. Shoot. They say the name on that mug didn't say Trump, did it? No, the name on that mug did not say Trump. That's what the name says on that mug right there. It absolutely does not say Trump. I tell you what, one funny thing though. I'm gonna tell you something. This is hilarious, and maybe I'll show it one of these days. I was going through my closet because I literally have no wardrobe. If there are no independent agencies, that means that the Flim Flam Man can fire any Supreme Court justices, right? Well, the Supreme Court justices are well, the thing about that is they are in the Constitution for life. Yeah, turn kind of fast. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, they are approved for life on the bench as of right now, and Congress, through the Constitution, I believe, will have to change that. There will have to be a constitutional amendment to fix that right there. And there are people who are talking about amending the Constitution to change their tenure to like roughly 18 years or 15 years, to where they can rotate them in and out. Because one of the biggest problems is when they decided to make it a lifetime appointment, it was thought that they would be independent. It was thought that they could be independent because they were not in fear of somebody coming along and firing them or some other kind of getting them out some other kind of way. Well, as it turns out, the wisdom was wrong, and the wisdom was wrong. Aren't they talking about impeaching Roberts? Well, no, they're the discussion is basically impeaching uh geez, now I can't think of the guy's name. The one that says he loves drinking beer. One the latest couple of uh the latest couple they're talking about impeaching. Why is that camera hunting like that? Oh, maybe it's focusing on this cup. Oh, that's what it is. There we go. Uh, so the the like Amy Coney Barrett and what's the other one's name? Can't think of his name. Doggone it. But they when they were going through their hearings, their approval hearings, their Senate hearings, they lied and said that they would not go back. Settled cases were precedent, and they wouldn't go back and change any precedent. Well, the moment they got the chance, they went back and changed precedent. They went back and overruled previous court orders. So, court rulings. That's why they're talking about impeaching them, because they lied in their Senate confirmation hearings. That was Amy Coney Barrett and what is that guy's name? Brett Kavanaugh. That dude. Yes, that's the guy. Thank you. So I think they should be impeached because they literally got on the bench and immediately went against what they testified in their hearings. So I think that is an impeachable situation. John Roberts, as far as John Roberts is concerned, what I'm finding out more and more is John Roberts has had a history before being appointed to the Supreme Court, had a history of writing about radical changes he would like to make, like the things like affirmative action and stuff like that. I had no idea because I wasn't paying attention when he was nominated to be on the court. I had my head up my ass. Wish I had been paying attention then, but I wasn't. So that's where we are with the court today. Um, let's see. I was going to talk about the primaries in New York. I was going to talk about the primaries in New York because the primaries in New York, now unfortunately, Hakeem Jeffries was not challenged. Clarence Thomas is on thin ice. Well, Clarence Thomas is um, Clarence Thomas and Alito, Alito too. Both of them, as far as impeachment is concerned, they could be impeached just because of all of this money that they're getting personally from these billionaires. Clarence Thomas and Alito, Justice Alito, both of them are on a different scale. They are just corrupt. Okay, they should have charges on them because Clarence Thomas, for years, cheated on his taxes. He literally cheated on his taxes, and when caught, they allowed him to go back, change the numbers on the taxes, and then pay the tax he was supposed to pay. If that's the justice system, sign me up. Okay, if that's how the justice system works, sign me up. You get caught, you get to go back and redo the paperwork and then pay what you're supposed to pay. You don't get charged with a crime after committing the crime. Alito and Thomas, that's a whole different story. That's a different level. That's corruption that should be charged as crime. I'm just talking impeached for lying to get onto the court. Those two are criminals. Okay, that's a whole nother thing. And just today, Clarence Thomas is coming out of the meeting spaces at the GOP on Capitol Hill. Why is Clarence Thomas, prior to court rulings, at the leadership offices on Capitol Hill? What's he there to talk about? He's got no business meeting with anybody on Capitol Hill in the GOP leadership offices. That's just today. That's the level of corruption that guy is at. So, it is incredible the level of corruption of those two. Those two are just criminals. Okay, now back to, again, what I think may be a game changer, and you all are going to hear this over the next several months. Y'all going to hear all about this stuff. You're going to hear it because it's kind of blowing up. And that is, there was primaries in New York. And in those primaries, Zoran Mamdani backed 3 candidates that were not the candidates that Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer were backing. 2 of those candidates, well, all 3 of them are considered Democratic socialists. 1 is a former New York comptroller. 2 are just people that popped up out of nowhere. Those 2 females, Democratic socialists, that's what they're calling themselves. You will hear Trump calling them communists, okay? You will hear Trump and the GOP. The GOP is going to be talking about communists for the next 6 months, the next 5 months. It's going to be nothing but communists, okay? Get ready to hear it. Get ready to hear all the GOP candidates talking about communism. They're going to try and gin up their people. That's the new boogeyman. Remember, that's the new boogeyman. They always got a boogeyman that they scare their people with. That's the latest boogeyman. A communist is coming to get you. A communist is going to come get your guns. Remember, Barack Obama was supposed to get in the limo and go out and collect everybody's guns himself. For some reason, he didn't do it. You know, I tried to tell people Obama wouldn't do it, but they tried their best to convince me Obama was going to come and get everybody's gun. I literally had a guy tell me he was personally coming to get it. Anyway, the new boogeyman is the communist is going to come get your guns. The communist is going to destroy the country. The Democrats are communists now. The Democrats are communists. Let me play. I'm going to play a clip from, let's see. I'm going to play a clip from, let's go with the Lego News. Let's go with the Lego News. See, Mike Johnson, Mike Johnson is so afraid because of the new Democrats that's coming in. Graham Plattner and the new Democrats, these Democrats that was brought in. Let's check out what the Lego News got to say about it.
This is a report on what Speaker Mike Johnson said at a closed-door fundraiser and what it revealed about why Republicans are fighting to keep Congress. Johnson warned wealthy donors that a Democratic majority would launch investigations into President Trump, his family, his cabinet, and the donors themselves. He didn't read from the Democratic Socialist platform, thinking it would scare the room. It did not go the way he planned. Here's what happened. Mike Johnson said the quiet part loud, told the donors, told the crowd, we're not here for plans or health care bills. We're here to stop the investigations, pay the bills. Said half of you in this room will be hit. Now the whole country's hearing it. Mike Johnson stepped to the mic at a Republican fundraiser, told the donors in the room he was gonna protect them later. Said if Democrats take over Congress, heaven forbid, every committee becomes an investigation. And here is what he did. He told the room that impeachment is not even the big concern. The real threat is the committees, every stone they're gonna turn, going after Trump's family, cabinet members, wealthy friends. Johnson said half of you in this room, that's where the targeting begins. Then said he runs the protection program, so they're going to win. That is not a policy agenda, that is where the story begins. No healthcare plan on the table, no platform for the people, just keeping Congress as a shield. That is the receipt in full detail. Analysts pointed out Johnson said the quiet part straight out loud. Not winning for the voters, winning for the donor crowd. Protecting the president, protecting the cabinet, protecting the money. That says like governor to you, the record says otherwise clearly. Mike Johnson said the quiet part loud, told the donors, told the crowd, we're not here for plans or health care bills. We're here to stop the investigations, pay the bills. Said half of you in this room will be hit. Now the whole country's hearing it.
So I tell you what, let's hear it from Mike Johnson himself. Because Mike Johnson, he is scared. The GOP is scared. Mike Johnson is scared. And not only are they scared, but I'm going to tell you who else is scared. The establishment Democrats are scared too. They're just as scared. They are nervous as all get out. Yes, the Lego News always gets it right. Here, let's hear Mike Johnson's. Let's hear it in his own words. Okay? Let's hear it straight from Mike Johnson.
There's a new Gallup and NBC poll. Came out about 4 days ago. Listen to this. Only 29% of Democrat voters now say they are proud to be American. Over half now say they want to live in another country. Yeah, go. We can't deport that many. So let me tell you, this is a very sober. Let's see how much time I have. Oh dear, 3 minutes. Okay, look. I am very bullish about the midterms. Let me just tell you right now, as a leader of this little army in the House, we are ready for this fight. We're ready for this fight. We're called for it. My friends, I have a very boring 90-minute slideshow that I could go through with you right now. All the reasons we're going to win. We are going to defy history. It is true. We have to defy history. Only twice in 90 years has the sitting president picked up seats for his party in that first two-year cycle. But this is a midterm unlike any other, not only because of the threats that we face that are very real and must be confronted, but it's because of a lot of reasons on paper why we should win. We have a great record to run on. You just heard our extraordinary Treasury Secretary recount some of the big wins that we've done. I could do this with you all day, talking about the 700 bills we passed through the House, the 100 executive orders we've codified, and all the great things we've done for hardworking American families, and pro-family policies and pro-life policies, and we're fulfilling our promises. We have better candidates than the Democrats do. They are on the verge of an open civil war because the establishment Democrats are being pushed out by the Marxists. They're having a lot of disarray on their side, and that will play to our advantage in the midterms. We have, for the first time in 10 years, my friends, we have a slight fundraising advantage over the Democrats. That never happens. People are so motivated, and we have the President of the United States running like it's 2024, okay? He's going to tell you that himself here in a few minutes. He's going to tell you. He's out doing campaigns and rallies, and he's going to look right into the eyes of the camera and say, I am on the ballot, because in a real sense he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the...
Now, get this part. Get this part right here.
Program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right? We're so motivated, and we have the camera and say, I am on the ballot, because in a real sense he is. If we were to lose the midterms, heaven forbid, these Democrats, y'all, impeachment's not even the big concern. They will turn every committee of Congress into an investigative body, and they'll go after the president's family, the cabinet, his donors and friends. Half of you in this room will be targeted. I run the protection program. I'll take care of you, okay? We're going to win. We're going to win the midterm, okay? All right?
He runs the protection program. He's going to take care of all of those donors in the room. He runs the protection program. Remember, every time somebody asks me why these people always stand up for Trump, because they're running a protection program for all of those crooks. That's what they're doing. He just admitted he's running a protection program. And he's going to protect all those rich people in the room. That's what this is about. And they are scared. They're scared of the Graham Plattners up in Maine. Graham Plattner said, he made a statement, and I'm going to paraphrase it. It came out to, the Democrats should be investigating every day. When the Democrats get in office, the Republicans shouldn't be able to do anything for all of the investigations going on against them. I agree. That's a pretty bold statement. I like it. The Democrats should hold so many investigations that it'll tie up anything this president is trying to do. I agree with that. That'll work. But you notice he called them Marxists. You're going to hear that too. They're Marxists. And he's saying that there's a divide, a war going on in the Democratic Party. Well, there is a small wedge being put in the Democratic Party. And that's with the establishment Democrats and the establishment conference. You see, they have a problem. And that problem is America is seeing what's happening. America is seeing the AIPAC money. America is seeing the checks being sent to Israel. And America is tired of it. America is seeing the fact that Israel has free health care. Israel has free school, free college. Israel has housing. Israel has every kind of subsidy you can give a family, all for free. Every Head Start you can give a family. Israel has programs for teenagers to meet and network and bond and form relationships. A vast network. And Americans are struggling. Americans can't get health care. Americans can't go to school. The GOP literally tries to tell you that going to college is bad. They don't want you educated. They don't want you educated. You notice he said, Trump always says he loves the poorly educated. He wants to keep them dumb down in the rural areas and in the cities if he can. You can't afford food and housing in America. He literally just decided he wasn't going to sign a housing bill because he was pissed off with the Senate. So he's not going to sign the housing bill. The hell with the Americans that's trying to find a place to live. The hell with them. I'm pissed off at the guys in the Senate. They are so nervous because of the Grand Plantners. We remember, this is making me so happy because in the beginning, from the beginning, I've been screaming, we need new Democrats that understand and are tired and are willing to campaign and seek office to change this shit. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, no, their time is short. Hakeem Jeffries ran unopposed, last week. Nobody ran against him. 2 or 3 incumbents lost their seats last week. And the two ladies, I'm not going to mention their names because my pronunciation, there was one Miss Chevalier, I can't pronounce it. She has a really radical, some really radical ideas, okay? Will they fly? Most of them, no. But she has new ideas, okay? It's a let's do something different approach. And that's what we need. We need people that's got the idea, let's do something different. Now, her different may not be what your different or my different is. The thing that's important is the people who voted for her think she's got some good ideas, okay? Remember that. Put a pin in that note right there. The people who voted for her feels like she's got some good ideas. Now, she's had to apologize for some stuff, young people and the social media posts and all this shit that they got to do. Yeah, that's the problem with trying to run for office later on. Some of them crazy ass posts, soon as you run for office, somebody's going to start digging up old posts that you made, Mike Johnson can see the long arm of the law coming. Yeah, absolutely. So she's having to explain some of the posts that she posted. One of her posts was fuck Kamala Harris. And she apologized for making the post. Well, when she was asked about it, she was asked about it during their debate by the guy she beat in the debate. And she apologized. Personally, I said fuck Kamala Harris a couple of times. And one of the times I said it was the time she was on The View and Sonny Hostin asked her how would she differentiate herself from Joe Biden? And she didn't do it. In that moment, I said, fuck Kamala Harris. And I said, fuck Sonny Hostin for asking her that question. Because that was a gotcha question. That was a question that either answer she would have to defend. No matter which way she answered the question, she had to defend it. But I wish she had the balls to answer, to make herself different from Joe Biden. But she didn't do it. So I'm guilty of saying it too. So I can't hold her to no, I can't hold her head to no fire because she said, fuck Kamala Harris. I'm guilty too. But let's keep in mind, the people in her district elected her, and she's going to Congress, okay? Because there's not going to be a Republican challenger in the fall. They'll have to dig up somebody out of the ground and try and get them ready to run against her. That's not going to happen. That's a Democratic district. So, we have a fresh wave of Democratic socialists. And a Democratic socialist, you should be used to hearing it. Bernie Sanders is a Democratic socialist. You should be used to hearing the term Democratic socialist. You've seen AOC. She doesn't call herself a Democratic socialist, I don't think, but she is one. She believes in some of the same values. Bernie Sanders, Bernie Sanders, he's about America. He's about the working guy. Okay? Graham Plattner, Democratic Socialist. Get used to that term, Democratic Socialist. And get used to the GOP trying to label them communists and Marxists. Now, they won't call them socialists. Now, I don't know why you won't call, if I say I'm a socialist, why you want to call me a communist or a Marxist? Well, you're just trying to, sling mud. That's all. You're just trying to sling mud. So that's what you're going to hear. For the next 5 months, you're going to hear them screaming, communists, Marxists, communists, yada, yada, yada. Vicky. Hey, Vicky, what's happening? How are you? How's it going? Glad to see you. So get ready to hear those slurs. That's all you're going to hear is those slurs. Matter of fact, let's see. Let's check out a conversation. And this was an interesting conversation to me. And I'm going to play this conversation and pay attention. Pay very close attention to the wording in this conversation. Pay very, very close attention to this conversation. This is Elizabeth Vargas and James Carville. We all know who James Carville. I play his stuff all the time. He's an old Democrat. And they're getting caught up. Some of the Democrats are getting caught up in that wording about stripping the funding from Israel. See, you can be, let me say this, you can be against sending Israel money, but not an anti-Semite. See, you're not an anti-Semite because you don't want your tax dollars going to Israel. That's what Israel wants everybody to think you are. The government of Israel. We'll say most of the people don't feel that way. But the government of Israel, Netanyahu and his boys, would like everybody to feel like you must be an anti-Semite if you don't want to send your tax dollars to Israel. if you want to cut Israel off and let them fend for themselves the same way we have to, if you want to save your tax dollars for Americans, you must be an anti-Semite. And that's just not true. None of these candidates are against Israel's right to exist. These candidates simply are for the Palestinians' right to exist. The Palestinians have a right to exist too. See, one of the other things Israel seems to want to put out is that if you are on the side of the Palestinians, you must be against Israel. That's not true. You can be for the Palestinians' right to exist and for Israel's right to exist. They both have a right to exist. They both have the right to have a country. They both have a right to govern themselves. They both have a right to life and happiness. Only one of them is being held down by the other one. And that's the Palestinians being held down by Israel. Now, Hamas, they'll talk about Hamas. Well, Netanyahu helped create Hamas. Hamas is just sick of Netanyahu and his shit. Hamas would go away if Israel left the Palestinians alone and let them create their government and create their country and live in peace. All right, having said that, listen to this conversation. You're going to hear this conversation on all the talking head shows. It's going to be a variation of this conversation because the establishment Democrats are getting nervous because the American people are getting sick of sending Israel money and weapons. That costs us money. We're sending another country all of this equipment and money, and their country is doing wonderful while we're struggling. And the American people are getting tired of it. Check out the conversation.
The developments, but most notably this incredible sweep here in New York City and Mamdani flexing his muscle. We are joined by Democratic strategist James Carville. James, great to have you on the show. So the headline in the Axios headline this morning says, socialist earthquake leaves Democrats reeling. One Democratic lawmaker said, holy shit, S-H-I-T, buckle up. A Democratic strategist said, quote, we will not stand by as our party contemplates writing this road to ruin. Are they just all, is this hysterical reaction or are they right?
This is 90% hysterical reaction. It's 3 seats in New York City. Okay, come on, let's get real. And by the way, 2 of them, I don't think are even Democrats. This Chevalier lady, they should not seat her in the caucus. Her views are totally against anything that any Democrat has. We believe in pluralism. She doesn't even believe in interracial dating.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me stop it right there. Did you just hear what James Carville just said? James Carville said the Democrats shouldn't even seat her as a Democrat. Now, she just won in the Democratic district as a Democratic socialist. Her constituents in her district voted for her. And James Carville just said she shouldn't be seated. She's not a Democrat. What kind of shit is that? They're not saying that about Fetterman. They're not saying Fetterman should be kicked out of the Democratic caucus. I didn't hear nobody saying that. They never said Joe Manchin should be kicked out of the Democratic caucus and not on any committees. Kyrsten Sinema, they never said she should be kicked out of Democratic caucuses. And these people voted for the Republicans every time. They voted with the Republicans in the Senate every time. The James Carvilles didn't come out against them, didn't call them non-Democrats. But all of a sudden, these people aren't Democrats. That's the fear. See, that's the phrase. That's the oh shit, they coming for me too. See, that's what that is. That's the oh shit. America's about to come for me too. Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they days are numbered. Let's go back to the video.
Who? I don't think there's a place in the party. By the way, I'm not sure she wants to be a Democrat. Go do something else. Form your own party.
Yeah, you're talking about Daria Lisa Chevalier. She wants to abolish ICE. She at one point wanted to abolish police. She wanted to abolish all deportations of anyone, anywhere. In past social media posts, she called veterans war criminals, called President Biden a rapist, said COVID came from France, not China. Who is this person? She just unseated an incumbent Democrat.
She is not a Democrat. Okay, that is pretty clear. And frankly, I think a lot of Democrats feel like I do. I don't have any problem, just no washed-up consultant. But I wouldn't seat her. This is not who we are. And we should just say, look, you duly elected, have your seat in Congress, but you're not getting any committee assignments when the Democrats get the majority. And by the way, as Jamie Harrison, the former Democratic chair, said, all of these people hate Democrats. Why do you want to run as a Democrat? Start your own movement. If it's such a...
Jamie Harris said, really? Jamie Harris was one of the weakest DNC chairs I've ever seen in my life. And how do you decide who the Democrat is? Who gives these guys the right to decide who is a Democrat? Because they say something that you don't agree with. See, there we go again with the definitions and who gets to make them. Remember, let's say racism. The person that's committing the racism doesn't get to decide what racism is. See how that works? You always hear the racist say some shit and then say, well, I didn't do anything racist. I'm not a racist. Because he's made up his mind what he's doing is not racist. Well, the racist doesn't get to decide what racism is. If you catch a motherfucker stealing out of your garage and he says he's just reallocating shit for the neighborhood, he doesn't get to decide he's not stealing. Okay?
Powerful, sweeping movement that's got momentum everywhere, then go ahead and be at the head of it. Don't use the Democratic Party to advance it.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any interest in it.
The animating force behind all three of these Mamdani-backed candidates is a real strong anti-Israel ideology. At that party where they were chanting "You're next" to Hakeem Jeffries, they were also chanting "Free, free Palestine." They weren't chanting free healthcare or free, They were chanting free Palestine. And Congressman Goldman, who lost his seat last night, warned that anti-Semitism will be the undoing of our democracy. Is he right?
Well, it's disgusting, okay? And you got to be careful not to conflate two things. You can be hugely anti the policies of the government of Israel,
right,
which I would certainly describe myself as one. But when you say I don't think Israel should exist, then then I don't have room for you. I have all the room in the world to criticize Israeli policies, to criticize the settlements, which I think were stupid, ignorant to start with, and they continue to be. They can criticize whether or not they reacted strategically to October the 7th. That's all fine. That's all fine. But once you start, and you can be as critical as you want of the government, but when you start to like they don't have to exist, or you run against the concept of Jewish people, then you got no place at my table. I can tell you that.
Well, James, if you were to say, if you would have told the truth, then these people are not anti-Israel. Elizabeth Vargas set that whole question up in a dishonest manner. She said the theme was anti-Israel. The theme is not anti-Israel. Whenever you start talking about not sending Israel any more tax money, you become anti-Israel. you get labeled you're anti-Israel the minute you start talking about cutting off the money. Just listen to it every day. Listen to who doesn't want to stop sending money to Israel. The people who don't want to stop sending money to Israel are always the people who are getting paid from AIPAC. AIPAC is in so many government agencies, so many doggone corner offices up and down the halls handing out money. And long as AIPAC is handing out money, you'll hear these guys standing up for sending aid packages to Israel. It's a big goddamn cycle of sending. They pay our politicians, and our politicians send money back to the country. And they take that money and provide all manner of comfort for their country. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, they're cutting food stamps for those. And here's the killer. Here's the killer. Here's the killer. The people, most of the people that are on food stamps are working every day. These people are going to work every day at companies that won't pay them enough that they don't qualify for food stamps. You're working every day and you still qualify for food stamps. What kind of shit is that? And then they want to cut your food stamps out. And your health care. You can't get any Medicaid. We're cutting the Medicaid out. Guess who that's going to hurt? A, that's going to hurt most of the people in the South. And B, that's going to hurt the hospitals around the country that are geared to lower income people. The hospitals are going to start drying up because that's the funding for the hospitals. But let's make sure we send more money to Israel. And let's make sure we give these people another $100 and some odd billion to keep fucking around in Iran. Okay? Let's keep fucking around with Iran while Iran is still over there doing their thing. We have wasted the amount of munitions that have been wasted messing around in Iran. Now that our munitions are depleted to a dangerously low level, now they need $100 billion. We need $80 more billion. While we got a clown spending $14, $16, $30 million fucking with a reflecting pool, just screwing the whole thing up, giving it to his buddies with no big contracts, a ballroom that's just a hole in the ground, and $400 million out the window that's been disappeared. The $400 million that was there has disappeared. So now he wants $1.5 billion from us. And they're afraid because finally, there's some new kind of Democrats emerging after all of this shit show. There's Democrats who are emerging and they're coming out in numbers and they're being elected in numbers. And they're not taking the money from AIPAC. See, they're vowing to not take the money from all of these different organizations that show up just to slip you the money. See, they're vowing to not be bought off. And that is scaring the establishment Democrats. It's scaring the hell out of Republicans because guess what? Heaven forbid the idea catch on the Republican side. Remember, there's a lot of Republicans that are pissed right now. There are a lot of Republicans that are so pissed off right now with what this administration is doing, oh boy, don't let this idea catch on. Don't let this idea, because guess what? They see all the money leaving the country too. They getting tired of this shit too. The independents, remember those? All those independent people that helped get Trump in, those people, they're definitely looking at this. They tired of it too. So, there's going to be something going on. There's going to be something going on over these next 5 months. I bet. I want to see what the Republican side has to say, because Mike Johnson, he's already let the cat out of the bag. He's scared of all the investigations and all of the wrongdoing coming to light. That's what he's scared of. That's what he's afraid of. He just told you what he's scared of. Okay? I tell you what. Good luck, Mike. Good luck. I think you're in trouble, buddy. I think you're in trouble. That's what I think. I think there's a reckoning coming. I think the American people are seeing it. I think there's new Democrats coming. I've been looking for these new Democrats. I'm glad. Hopefully, this takes hold. I hope it takes hold. Let's see. Excuse me for a second. I was looking for a clip. I may not have it. Let's see if I got this. Nope, I guess I don't. Thought I had that clip. Don't know where it went. Seemed to be disappeared on me. I hate it when that happens. That might be it right there. As long as Democrats get out and vote. Yeah, absolutely. As long as the Democrats get out and vote. I think the Democrats are going to vote this go around. I think, there's going to be tons of independents. You know who might not be voting very much? The Republicans. See, when Republicans get mad, they stay home. When they get mad, they don't vote. And I think there might be a lot of them staying home. Here, I think this is that clip I'm looking for. This is what you're going to be hearing. This is what you're going to be hearing for the next 5 months. Get ready, get set. You're going to be hearing this for the next 5 months.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The officers
That is the wrong clip. Don't know how that one got there. Let me see if I can get the right clip. Don't know how that happened. Could have sworn I just had it. Let me try it again. Thought I had that clip right there. Let's try it.
You saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent, ladies and gentlemen, From now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. There will be no nothing. You'll be a third world inhabitant in every way, and everyone will suffer or die. You'll suffer or die. That's what happens. For thousands of years, it's been happening by different names. Thousands of years. I'm telling you, I'd be the greatest communist in history. It would be so easy. You wouldn't have to work. You could stay home. The problem is a couple of years go by, the whole place collapses. Always does. Always has. But I'm sorry to say, but assassinations of those who oppose them is a very important element of their ideology. Assassination's a big deal for them. They're animals. They're animals. In many cases, they're not smart, but in some cases, they are. It's easy for them to get followers because they make promises that they know they can't keep, and the Democrats aren't fighting back. That's why they're dumb. They're not fighting back. They're afraid. I watch Schumer. He's afraid to fight. I watch guys that are pretty normal and guys that we oppose. They're afraid to fight. The Democrats have taken a tremendous turn left, and many of these people, I looked at some of the people that got elected the other night in New York. These are, in many ways, stupid people. In some ways, and intellectually, probably pretty smart. But they're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is in big trouble because this isn't stopping with New York. This is going all. Too easy to get elected, giving everything away. Too easy to get elected. Very dangerous. But you'll soon have nothing left. That's the problem. In many ways, they're allowing them to just go their own way, do your own. We don't want to take a chance on saying anything bad because we're afraid we're going to lose our jobs if we do. They're afraid they're going to lose their election if they even think about saying anything bad about this new breed of sick people. They're not smart enough or tough enough to fight the plague that's happening. It's happening right before your very eyes. If they fought them the way they fight Republicans or the way they fight me, they'd be victorious. They didn't beat us, but they'd be victorious against the communists. But they don't have the courage to do so, so they're turning communists themselves. It's becoming a communist party. These are not social democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God. This is the most serious threat to our country since its existence, in my opinion, 250 years ago. This is a major threat to our country.
That's the shit you're going to hear for the next 5 months. That's what you're going to hear for the next 5 months. Okay? So saddle up, get your popcorn ready, and get comfortable. Because that's what you're going to hear for the next 5 months. Communists, 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 communists. Get ready. You heard it here first. Remember where you heard it first. Pay attention. Pay attention. Because that's what you're going to be hearing. They're smart, but they're dumb. They're dumb, but they're smart. They're communists. Now the whole party's communist. They're ungodly. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in God. Every lousy thing that you can throw, you're going to hear it. Okay? Just get ready. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. That's the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be. So anyway, I've rambled enough. Hey, by the way, before I get out of here, I got to play a clip of a young lady. This young lady made a mistake. She made a really bad mistake. And it tickled the shit out of me. The mission is to remove any and all Republicans from office. Well, yes. You know what? I tell you what. If there was a way to do that, I would be game for it. And the good part about that is the Republicans are doing a very good job of shooting themselves in the foot. Like right now, with these people that got elected in New York and all of this, see what these people don't understand? What these people that are talking all this crazy shit don't understand is the people are electing these people. And the more you talk shit about them, the more of them are going to get elected, because the people understand the reason you calling them all these names. The people understand you're afraid. You don't want anything in Washington to change. The people understand that. The people understand you're trying to hold on to your cozy little position. So you're going to start labeling these people all this shit. And these people are going to be going out and being on TV and telling the whole country, no, that's a lie what they're telling you. They're telling you a lie because they're afraid. That's what people that are afraid do. They start lying. And the American people are going to see through it. And they're going to start putting forward more rational people. Now, the Republican Party used to have some rational people in it until this guy came along. This guy came along and destroyed the party. There's some people out there that would like to have a rational Republican Party again. That could happen. There used to be some rational Republicans. It could happen. Imagine if a new group of Republicans popped up. That's not MAGA. You see, Mike Johnson and Trump, they're talking at all these people as if all of these people are MAGA. But that's not the case. There are a lot of Republicans out there that are pulling away from MAGA. So let's see if they can come up with a new breed. We need a new breed of Democrat. I tell you what, I'm sick to death of a Hakeem Jeffries and a Chuck Schumer. I'm up to here with the Hakeem Jeffries and the Jeff Schumers. Okay? So, check this out, though. I ran across this clip, and it tickled me to death. When you make a screw up, when you've been out fucking around, and shame on you if you out fucking around. But when you screw up so bad that you intend to send somebody a message and you send it to the wrong person. Before we get out of here, let's look at this. Look at this clip.
I just realized I don't have my ring anymore. I left it at your house. I don't know if it's on the nightstand where I slept or if it's in the bathroom on the sink. And I also washed my hands at the kitchen. So
I'm going to start that over because I want you to pay attention to what he's fixing to, what he's preparing. Watch the ingredients that he's preparing. Somebody tell me what the hell this is, okay? Somebody tell me what it is.
I just realized I don't have my ring anymore. I left it at your house. I don't know if it's on the nightstand where I slept or if it's in the bathroom on the sink. And I also washed my hands at the kitchen. So I have got to get that ring back before Kyle sees, because if he sees, he's gonna know something's up.
Where did you get that?
So he gets home in like 4 hours. So,
I didn't send that to
can you find it and let me know, and then we can either meet up and exchange, or I can just come there and like find
It's a
it.
joke.
Please call me
This
back
is a
and
joke.
please let me know what to do.
I'm just pranking you. I'm just kidding. Surprise.
I've been suspecting you've been cheating on me since I found your dating profiles, you know? Yeah. But you might want to check and see who you're sending your voice notes to before you actually send them. You know? Might be a wise thing to do. Glad you got your ring back though. But you won't be needing it too much longer, because you'll finally get your wish and your divorce is coming. Our divorce. It's fucking over.
Stop it. This is not real. Like, this is something we have to talk about. This is something we have to talk about.
No,
We
it's
have
over.
to get through this.
You know, it's over.
Now, before we get out of here, let's take this in two parts. First of all, you sent your husband the message that you were sending the person you cheating with, your sneaky link. You got to be some kind of stupid. Okay? You got to be some kind of stupid. Now, secondly, did anybody see what that guy was fixing in that bowl? If you saw it, look at it again, check it out, let me know if you can tell me what that is in that bowl. Okay, on that note, everybody, y'all enjoy, have a good evening. I'm gonna get out of here. I'm sorry I went over so long, and hey, thanks for hanging out with me. By the way, if you're still here, hit the thumbs up for me, ring that bell, do all the stuff that makes that algorithm act right. Again, look at this video again. Tell me if you can find out what it is he put in. It looked like watermelon, sour cream, paprika, and eggs. I don't know what the hell that is. If you know, let me know. Appreciate y'all for hanging out. Talk to you later. I'm out.